Hello there, it's Daniel Keenan here from Cuthbertson Primary School. Thanks very much for coming to today's Apple Teacher Monday. Today's session is on the Numbers app. Put my email address on here in case anyone's got any queries or questions at the end or throughout. If you want to just send them in an email, then you can do so. So today we're going to have a look at the Numbers app. For those of you that may be not familiar with the Numbers app, it is the Apple equivalent to a spreadsheet or Microsoft Excel. The reason I make that comparison is I know a number of us working in Glasgow have been using Excel for a number of years. It's been available on our computer systems that we use, laptops and desktops. So moving over onto an Apple device, you'll find the Numbers app on the device as standard, and that's an app that you can use with your class. Today I'm just going to go over most of the basics of the Numbers app and look at some of the things that you can do in the Numbers app. And what I'll do is I'll take you through that, and it will help you towards getting your Apple Teacher badge. And I'll also try and think of different things that you can do maybe with your classes as we go along. So the first thing to think about is where to actually find the Numbers app. So you can see at the bottom of my screen, I've got all my sort of quick apps to get into there, and you can see the Numbers app. It sort of looks like a bar chart, and it's the green colour. So I'm just going to tap onto that at the moment, and once that's opened up, it's going into one of the ones that I've already created. So when you open it up, it should usually open up onto this screen, which you'll see. You can see I've got a few different ones that I've created from when I was practicing for the webinar that I'm doing today, and this is where you'll find all of the different files that you've created over time. So the first thing we're going to do is have a look at actually how to create a spreadsheet. It's fairly simple. You're pressing the big plus at the top, or in the middle of the screen there, it says create spreadsheet. So I'm just going to press onto that. And one of the first things I think is really interesting to note is that the app actually comes with lots of really useful templates. Now, in my experience using different packages such as Excel, I don't know if they do have these templates, but they're certainly not as easy to find and as user-friendly as these ones that just pop up straight away. So excellent to have these options, and already by looking at these, I can see some things that can help you with your role as a teacher, and also some that you might want to do with your classes, depending on what level you're teaching at. So loads of good options and some really easy ones to get started with if it's something you want to go and explore a little bit further. For today's session though, I'm going to go and click and create a brand new blank spreadsheet, and just click onto the one at the top that says blank, which is the one that I've been using, and it will start to create you your own spreadsheet. So in order to add text or information, what you need to do is just click onto one of the cells. So I'm just tapping around on the cells, and you can see it's moving around wherever I'm tapping. So if you want to put in some information, we can do that. So I'm going to add some text information. We'll give this table a name. So we're actually going to do one all about chairs, and we're going to pretend that we're ordering chairs, and we're going to try and stay within a budget for ordering these chairs. So to get information in, you can click onto the cell that you're interested in. All these little squares are called cells, and I'm just going to, you can press at the bottom right, you'll see there's a keyboard icon. If you press that, you can put information in, and of course if you want to put in numbers, you'll see at the top of the keyboard there's the 1, 2, 3, and if you press onto that, you can see you've got the option to type in the numbers. A nice big keyboard with the numbers and some common used symbols around there as well. Excellent, really big, easy for the children or pupils to see, and easy for them to work with. I'll be using text for this part, and for this part I'm just going to write in chair colour, because that's what we're going to look at. Now if I press the return key, which is a little arrow that goes down and then over to the left, that takes me straight on to the next cell below, and we're just going to practice with red, blue, green and yellow. So let's just imagine we're creating that and we're just using the return key to put in the information. So that's really the first thing that you need to be able to do. So something else that you might want to do is change the size of this. So we might not need to use all of that. If you look near the top, you'll see the two blue vertical lines next to the G column. So I'm just going to press on that, and that allows me to change the size very easily. If you're used to using Microsoft Excel, that's not a function that I've used before on that, and I find it really useful because what it means is that I can adjust the size of this to exactly the size I need for what I'm working with, and I find it a lot less distracting to the eye, and I think the children will feel the same when they're using it, particularly the lower end of primary school maybe. Even looking at primary 3, 4 and 5s, if they were to look at something like this, it really helps them focus in on what they're doing. You see the top blue little circle there next to the A and next to the 1. I'm able to move that around and it moves the table around the page as well. So quite useful. Alright, so something else that we can do is we can have a look at actually changing the whole appearance of the table. So I'm just going to click onto my table now, and if you click onto here and go to the paintbrush, so the paintbrush is at the top right, I'm just clicking onto that now. So I'm clicking onto my table, going onto my paintbrush, and you can see straight away I can choose a different look. Now I'm just choosing different looks here, and as you can see, really easy and simple to use. Now the other thing that you can do is you can take the table name away, or you can have the table name on display if you want it to. You can remove the table outline and put it back in. You can see around the edge of my table it's disappearing, and if you go into the grid options you can remove these horizontal vertical lines, and you can change these options as well. I think it makes it a lot more difficult to read, so I quite like all of these on, but you can see there's lots of options for what you can actually do here, and it's very, very very useful if you want to go into that level of detail. Within the cell you can go into lots more of these changes, but I'm just going to stick with this one. I might change it to the red at the top, and I'm quite happy with what I've got there. So I'm actually going to now put in the prices for all of these different chairs. So I'm going to double tap. That's another way to get in and type some information. And I'm going to put in here price per chair. Alright, so I'm adding in the price per chair. So I'm just going to make up some values now. So because I'm looking at values, I want to change that to a number. And price per chair, so I'm just going to change that to maybe different amounts for each chair. So a red chair could cost £12.50. We might have blue chairs a bit cheaper at only £8.60. I might have green chairs a little bit more expensive at £15 exactly. And yellow chairs, just make up that they're on a wee discount at the moment for £7 exactly. Okay, and I've put in all the prices of my chairs. So now I know how much all my chairs are costing per chair. What I want to do is have a look at that and say, well, if I was working with a class, I would be saying, well, you need your unit of measurement in there. And that's another thing we can do to actually format these cells to make them appear as money. So I'm clicking on to the cells that I'm actually interested in, and I'm going to go to the paintbrush, and I'm going to click on the little option at the top that says format. And as you can see, there is an option here for currency. Once I've ticked that option from my paintbrush, then format, and then currency, you can see it's changed all those values to be money. And the great thing is it seems to detect, because I'm using this in the UK, that it's going into pounds and pence automatically. Other things I've used always change things to dollars, and I have to go in and change it to pounds and pence. So really useful that it does that for us. So now I'm going to put in here I would like to actually add in how many chairs am I ordering. So I'm going to go back to text. So you can see here I'm changing it from the 1, 2, 3 at the top of the keyboard, and I'm changing that to the ABC, and that switches between the text and the numerical one. And for this I'm going to put in number required. Okay, so I want to know how many do I require of each one. And I'm going back onto the numerical now. And I'm going to change that, so I'll say I need maybe 4 of these, I need maybe 8 of these, perhaps I need 10 of these, and I'll just pretend I need 5 of those ones. So I've added in some more information about the number of chairs that I require. So next what I'm going to do is have a look at maybe some of these column actions. As you can see at the moment, I've just kind of randomly allocated red, blue, green, yellow. But if you had a big spreadsheet or a big chart here, and you might want to order it by alphabetical order to make it easier to find information, I'm just going to press the A column at the very top, and at the bottom right hand side you'll see the little word column with the lightning bolt. So I'm just going to click on that, and if I press on sort ascending, you can see it's automatically organised these alphabetically: blue, green, red and yellow. And the great thing is that all my prices have all stayed correct, and all my number required have all stayed correct. So I'm able to order them really easily, and you can do the exact same thing. If you click on that and go to column, you can actually sort descending, sort ascending. I'm going to keep it in sort ascending and just keep it on alphabetical order at the moment. Okay. What I'd like to do now is have a little look at the option to create formulas. So I'm going to click under here, and I'm going to actually add in some information. So I'm going to make this my totals column, or my totals row, and here I'm going to show you how to add in a formula. Now there are faster ways to do some of the formulas, but I'm going to show you the step-by-step building block way, as I think that would be a good way to introduce the children or the pupils you're working with to the concept of building up formulas. So if I go into the keyboard here, and if you look at the top right hand side of the keyboard, you'll see the circle with the 2 horizontal lines. I'm just going to press onto that, and what that starts to do is actually build formulas. So I'm going to click on this cell here, and you can see it's put that in for me. And then I'm going to click on the plus, and I'm going to click on the next one, and click plus, and then the next one I want, and plus, and another plus. Okay, and I'm going to say that's great. So what I've done is I've actually added up here the price per chair of all these, but what I've realised now is I don't want to know the price of one individual chair all added up. I want to know how many chairs do I need in total. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to double tap on here, and I'm going to cut that out of there, and I'm going to paste. And when it comes up paste, it'll ask me, do I want to paste the value or do I want to paste a formula? So I'm going to choose I want to paste the formula, and now I know I would like 27 chairs in total. So to build up another formula, I would like to know the cost of how much are these chairs costing me. So I'm going to double tap on here, and I'm going to put in my cost. And now I'm going to go into my keyboard, and I'm going to put in the cost of what it is I'm actually going to be purchasing. So here I've got 8 blue chairs. Blue chairs cost £8.60. So I want to build another formula, so I'm going back into that circle with the 2 horizontal lines, and this time I'm going to choose price per chair. I'm going to choose multiply, and the number required, and that should tell me the total cost of the blue chairs for me if I just tick that. And as you can see, that's worked really well for me. So now I know it's £68.80 for my blue chairs, so I'm going to double tap that one. Sorry, I'll tap it and then tap again, and I'm going to copy, and I'm just going to paste it into the rows below, and I'm always choosing paste formulas. If I was to choose paste and then choose paste values, it would just copy the amount. I don't want to do that. I want to actually copy the formula because that wouldn't be accurate. So I'm just going to delete that one, paste, and I want to paste the formula. And that's an accurate value, and paste formula. Okay, so that's excellent. I know how much it's costing me for all my blue chairs, all my green chairs, all my red chairs, and all my yellow chairs. What I'd like to do now is actually find out how much is it going to cost me for all of these costs altogether. Earlier on I did tell you there was a quicker way to do some of these formulas. So I'm just going to press the lightning bolt at the bottom right, which is the lightning bolt with the cell. And I want to do a quick formula. You'll see that at the bottom. And I'm going to put in sum. And it's automatically put the sum, which is adding all of these ones together that are above it. And that's just quickly calculated the totals for me. So something else I would like to show you is very quickly the option for functions. So what we can do with functions is instead of actually working something out or doing a calculation, it's almost like a mini program that will read through your information and tell you something about it. So for this one, I'm going to go into my keyboard, and now to find the functions, I'm going back in to my formulas area, and you can see at the left hand side of the keyboard you've got the sort of f of x sign. That's to get into your functions. So I'm clicking onto the functions and it gives me categories. So I'm going to go for a statistical one, and there's so many of these. Now I'll be honest, I'm not sure what they all mean, and I'm not sure how to use them all. There's so many of them. But one I do know how to use is max. So what that does is it reads through all the information that you give it, and it gives you whatever the maximum value is. So that's what we're going to do today. Min does the same thing, but it doesn't give you the maximum value. Of course, it gives you the minimum value. But before I do that, I just want to show you that it does also give you a little information. If you click on that, it tells you the max function returns the largest number in a set of number values or date and time values or duration values. So it looks for the maximum and it tells you about it. It tells you when to use it, and it gives you some examples. So even if you're not sure how to use them, it does give you that extra bit of information. So this is going to be a maximum value, and what it's asking me now to do is actually choose which cells am I looking at then to find the maximum value. So I'm going to choose these 4 cells, and I'm going to tick it, and it'll tell me, okay, well, the most expensive chair that you've got there is the green chair at £15. If I now go into the yellow and I change that to make it £20 and 50 pence, it should now change that to tell me, well, the new maximum value is actually £20 and 50 pence. Those have gone up in value. And you will notice now that I've changed that, all of the other all the other formulas that I've had have all changed to match in with that new price. So really good that it kind of reacts very quickly to any changes that you're making. So we've had a little look at setting up some of our tables. I'm just going to shrink that one over, and I'm going to shrink that one slightly down, and I'm going to put my table over here. Because what I'd like to do next is I'd actually like to create a chart. So really looking into the next thing we can do is actually to create charts and graphs based on some of the data we've got. So I'm going to highlight the cost, and I'm just going to highlight the cost of the blue, green, yellow and red chairs. And what I'd like to do now is if I click on the little plus at the very top right, and you can see it's saying, do you want to add a table? What do you want to do? At the top, you can add tables, and the next option here is charts. So I'm going to choose a chart that I think would represent the information that I'm looking at best, and I'm going to go for just a simple bar graph chart. Okay, and as you can see, it's labelled that in for me: blue, green, red and yellow, and it's got a 3D effect, which I know the pupils like to see and sort of mess around with and have a look at that. So excellent there. The other excellent thing is that you can actually resize that, move it around. Now, when I've used these sorts of functions or these charts on Microsoft Excel in the past, I found it very difficult because it sort of pasted the whole graph all over my spreadsheet. I found it difficult to place it, where what I really like about the Numbers app is its flexibility to move these different elements all around the page and organise them in a way that makes sense for you. I think that's an excellent feature. So another thing that's always kind of irritated me when I've been working with creating these graphs is you're given this horrible graph and it's all blue, and really I would like it to match in with my theme that I'm looking at with this blue, green, red and yellow chairs. So if you click onto that and you click on Edit References, now this is a bit of a tricky part, so I'll show you that again. So I clicked onto the graph, and now you see I've got all these options. I'm going into Edit References, and I'm going into the Settings, which is at the top right next to the Done. And instead of Plot Columns as Series, I'm changing it to Plot Rows as Series, and straight away that looks much better. And as you can see, it's now changed this to actually make sense for me and show what chairs I'm spending the most money on, and a little graph to show the comparison of that. Okay, so something else I'd like to be able to do is, you can see blue, green and yellow are all matching in really nicely, but I've got a problem here in that the red column has actually been coloured grey automatically. So I'm going to go into the little paintbrush, and I want to go into my chart options, and then I'm going to go into Edit Series. And if I go into Edit Series, you can see blue's been given blue, green's been given green, yellow's been given yellow for Series 4, but Series 3, the red one, has been allocated green. I'm going to go in by pressing on that, go into the option of Fill, I'm going to Colour, and I'm now changing that to a nice red. You can go for a dark red, you can go for a light red. I'm going to try and go for a sort of middle of the road red. And that to me looks much better. So that's all been done, and I'm happy with the options that I've got there. So again, just something to be aware of that you can do. And now I can move that around, and I'm quite happy moving that around, showing that nice 3D effect, and I can also move it to another area of my screen and organise it. So what I might do is I might put my table in the very top, and I'll move my graph. In fact, I'll put my graph over at this side, and everything is looking just exactly how I want it to look. So the next thing I'd like to show is how to add shapes. Now, what I really like is that this Numbers app gives you the opportunity not just to add in your tables and your charts, it actually allows you even more features. So I'm going to add in here, and I'm adding, and I'm going to press on to the shapes. You can see that option there. Now, shapes are really fantastic on this. It's like emoji, but for me it's 10 times better. And I'm working on chairs, so I'm going to press and search for chair. So I'll just show you how I did that. You actually just press that search button there, and if you just type in the word chair, what you're looking for, or if maybe you're working on a table, you could write in the word table and you'll get some options for tables. Really, there's so many shapes, it's really great, it's really versatile. I really do like the shapes, and from what I've seen, the children really like to, add that extra element of professionalism to what they've done by adding in the shapes. So that is really, really, really excellent. But as I've said, we're working on chairs today. So I'm going to type in chair, and I'll just choose that chair there, and I'll move that. and I'd like to add another chair. I'll go for that one today. So got some chairs now. They are a little bit dull for me, so I'm going to change the colour. So I might have one in pink, and I think I'll choose another one. Let's see if I can choose a colour we've not had. I'll go for purple. Okay, excellent. So already you can see how you can make this look really professional by adding in these extra things. Now, one thing that I found quite difficult to do was actually add in the text box of what I wanted to add in extra text. And I'll be honest, it took me a while to actually find this when I was working on this. So if you go to the basic shape, you can see text is one of the first options. I wasn't looking for text in with the shapes, so I didn't find it. So if you just press on the text, and I can type in here anything I want to put in. So I'm just going to try chairs for everyone, and I'll add in a wee exclamation mark if it'll work. There we go. And that looks great. Now, I'd like that to be a little bit bigger. So you've guessed it, I'm going into the paintbrush. I'm going to choose text because it's the text I want to change. And you see, as I just press the plus button, I'm just pressing that as many times as I can. It's made that go really big. And I might choose a nice colour that I've not got. I don't see very much of orange, so I'll just make that orange. Make it a nicer orange. And I'd like all to be in one line, so I'm just going to try and move that all to be on one line all together. So I've got text, I've got shapes. Something else I can also add is actually drawings. So again, I'm going to this plus at the top right, and instead of being into the shapes, I'm actually going to go to media, which is the last option there. And as you can see, there's loads of different options. I'm just going to click on to drawing. It brings up these familiar drawing tools that we use across many of the apps within the iPad. And I recently have really been enjoying drawing with crayon. So I'm going to choose the crayon, and I'm going to choose my colour, as you can see at the bottom. And I'm going to click back on the crayon. I like a nice thick crayon to draw with. And I'm going to try and draw my own little chair to represent my work. Now you can use lots of different parts of it, right? Not the best drawing of a chair, but I've tried. The other useful thing is if you've got any interesting information, you can circle it, as you can see, or if you want to check things off, you can tick them or add things to it. It's really up to you how you use this. So I'm just going to take those ticks away, but I might leave the circle there, and I'll just press done. And the great thing is, once that's been done, you can actually select the drawing individually and move that around. So I'm going to keep my drawing there, and maybe that circle's not quite perfect, so I'll just resize that and put it where I want it to be. Maybe I want to highlight the yellow price because I think that's quite expensive. Why are all the other chairs so much cheaper? So something else that we can add is we can add any type of media. You can actually record audio, which is a great way to have the children talk about what they've done, or another great way for you to give feedback to the children. So lots of different things that you can do. You can add pretty much any of this. Add photo or video. I'm going to go into the photos, and I could actually add in a picture of a chair from my own house. So you can see here, very flexible, lots of easy ways to do things. Now I've added in that picture of my chair, but it's actually in the way of things and I didn't really want that. So I'm going to go into the paintbrush, I'm going to the arrange, and as you can see, I'm just moving it to the very back, and now you can see all of the chairs that I've created and all of my work that I've been working on. So a great way for the children or the young people we're working with to be able to see what they're doing. The last thing I'd want to do is just have a look at maybe adding different sheets. So this is all on one sheet here. You'll see at the top it says sheet 1. If you want to have another sheet, You just press that and press at the top there, the little plus, and go into new sheet, and it's created sheet 2, and you could create an entirely different one on this one, and there is sheet 2 ready for you. If perhaps you want to do something very similar, you can press on the sheet again, you can press copy and paste, and then you've got another one. So say for example, this was me ordering chairs for one class. I can say these are the P7 chairs that I'm ordering, and this one is going to be for the P6 class that I might be working with. And for the P7 one, I might have to maybe delete this part, and maybe I'll put in different numbers. So I might say it's actually going to be 6 of those, it's actually going to be 12 of those, 16 of those, and 5 of those. Everything's all changed, everything's all different, and you can see if you switch between P6 and P7, it's very similar, but I've changed the values to match in what I need to do. So you can duplicate you can duplicate the sheets, copy and paste the sheets, and if you just press and hold on the sheets, you can reorder them as well. So you can see here I've got this sheet 2 that I created when I was showing you how to create a new sheet, but I don't want that anymore. If I just press on that sheet 2 again, I can press delete. If I want to make a new one, rather than copy and paste, I can also press duplicate, and it will give me another one as well. I'm just going to delete that one off because we don't need it. The last thing I want to show you is the collaboration feature. So if you press up on the top right, you'll see there's an option for collaboration, and you can share this through various different, whatever platform you're using, you can always use that to share, and it should mean that you're able to update part of the document or part of the spreadsheet, and someone else is able to work on another part of it, and it will all sync together. It's not something I can show you fully how that's going to work, but it does work quite well if you would like the children to collaborate. It's something that I've sadly not had the chance to use yet, but I would look forward to using that in the future. I'd just like to say thank you very much for coming along and listening today, and if you have any questions, you can always send me an email or put a little comment onto the Teams chat there. Thanks very much everyone for coming along, and if you have any questions, don't hesitate to get in contact with me. Thank you.